Have you ever wondered if the games we play could be more than just entertainment? What if behind the flashing lights and exciting adventures, there are hidden lessons teaching things we were never meant to learn? In this video, we are going to uncover 7 games that secretly teach witchcraft and the occult. What you are about to hear may completely change the way you look at games, because the truth is, some of them are not just play, they are silent teachers. We'll explore how video games, card games, puzzles, and even children's play can sometimes disguise spells, rituals, and occult practices in the name of fun. And if you've ever thought these things were harmless, this message will make you stop and think again. The Bible warns us in 2 Corinthians 2:11, lest Satan should take advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. If you are truly seeking truth and you want to guard your heart from deception, then you must watch this video all the way to the end. Before we dive in, make sure you subscribe to this channel and turn on the notification bell. So many people miss messages like this because they never subscribe, and I don't want you to be one of them. Also, let us know in the comments, which country are you watching from? And what's your view on this topic? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Let's get started. The glow of the screen is often trusted. To many, it is a harmless source of fun and adventure, a digital escape from reality. But behind the colors, the stories, and the thrilling battles, something darker waits. Video games have become silent teachers, slipping lessons into the minds of players, lessons about power, magic, and the unseen world. Some games invite you to chant spells, collect charms, and use rituals to defeat enemies. A glowing circle appears on the ground, and the player must trace the shape with their controller to unlock power. Another demands you to mix ingredients in a cauldron, herbs, stones, and bones, mimicking the practice of potion making. Still another places a book of spells in your hands, where you must memorize and repeat incantations, word for word, to succeed. There are games where you are required to summon allies by drawing occult symbols in the air, or where progress is only granted when you kneel before a shrine and offer a sacrifice. Some quests even require speaking with spirits, binding them to your will, or channeling their energy to continue. What feels like simple gameplay is actually training. Rehearsals of practices rooted in witchcraft and the occult. Children and adults alike begin repeating incantations, waving their hands in patterns, and speaking words that echo real-world sorcery. With each victory, the mind is being molded, the heart desensitized. What was once strange becomes familiar, what was once forbidden becomes normal, and what was once dangerous becomes fun. The screen does not tell you that these practices are imitations of rituals God warned his people to avoid. Instead, it disguises them as entertainment. The player believes they are only pretending, but the enemy knows that pretending can open the door to desiring. And desire, when unchecked, can lead to deception. The truth is this: many games are not just teaching strategy, they are teaching spirituality, but not the kind that leads to light. The screen becomes a pulpit, the controller a tool, and the player a disciple, learning, without realizing, how to summon what should never be called. Number 2. The cards that speak lies. In the hands of many, cards are nothing more than playthings. Yet in the shadows of history, cards have long been tools for fortune-telling, casting lots, and seeking answers from spirits. Today, the same patterns have quietly slipped into trading card and role-playing games, teaching young minds to depend on powers that were never meant to guide them. The rules appear harmless. You shuffle a deck, draw a card, and let its power determine your next move. But these cards are often painted with symbols of the occult, creatures from myths, gods from false religions, and icons that mirror talismans of witchcraft. A single card can summon a beast, cast a curse, or shift the outcome of a battle. Players learn to place their faith in the unseen luck of the draw, unknowingly echoing the practices of diviners who cast lots to discern the future. In some role-playing games, the cards act like a book of spells. You must gather the right combination to unlock a ritual, or stack them in a certain pattern to gain supernatural favor. Others give players oracle cards that reveal hidden truths, instructing them to seek guidance not from God, but from a deck designed to mimic fortune-telling. Children become strategists, but beneath the strategy lies something darker. They are rehearsing rituals of chants, whispering words of command, and learning that power comes not from prayer or faith, but from cards that claim control over destiny. What was once forbidden divination now feels like innocent competition. The game board becomes an altar. The cards, like tools of sorcery, are drawn and laid out with intention. And with every victory, the player grows more comfortable with lies dressed as guidance. The truth is this: these games do more than entertain. They plant seeds of belief that destiny can be shuffled, that fate can be held in your hands, and that creation itself bends to symbols of power. But every seed of deception bears fruit, and the fruit of these cards is the lie that you can control the unseen. Number 3. The board that opens doors. It looks like nothing more than wood, plastic, or cardboard. Letters and symbols are neatly arranged, and a pointer slides across the surface. But behind the laughter and curiosity, the board whispers a promise. It claims to connect you with voices beyond the veil. What begins as a game of letters and guesses often becomes a doorway, teaching players the dangerous art of spirit contact. Some boards encourage players to ask questions out loud, waiting for an invisible force to move the piece. Others require everyone to place their hands on the same marker, chanting words in unison until the board begins to answer. The ritual is disguised as play, yet it mirrors practices of mediums who once called upon the dead. In newer forms, digital boards glow on screens, where players trace symbols, align runes, or draw circles of power to call forth an entity. These mechanics turn summoning into entertainment, as though speaking to spirits were no different than solving a puzzle. But the repetition is training. Every movement rehearses the act of invitation. The danger lies not in wood or plastic, but in the intent. Each time the board is used, the players yield curiosity to forces that crave attention. The laughter fades when strange answers appear, or when the game seems to know secrets no one spoke aloud. What was supposed to be pretend feels suddenly real, and the door creaks open wider. The board becomes more than a toy. It becomes an altar of contact. Those who play learn to silence their doubts, to trust unseen whispers, and to accept lies from voices they cannot see. And in doing so, they imitate the very practices God warned his people never to touch: calling on the dead, consulting spirits, and inviting shadows into their homes. The truth is this: every question asked on the board is a prayer offered to something other than God, and every answer received is a counterfeit revelation, pulling the heart away from truth. The game that claims to amuse can become the tool that opens a door no one can easily shut. Number 4. The quest that binds the soul. A sword glimmers, a map unfolds, and a hero is born. Fantasy adventures promise wonder. Journeys through kingdoms of light and shadow. Battles with dragons, quests for treasures hidden beyond mountains. At first glance, they appear harmless, even noble. Stories of courage, loyalty, and victory. Yet within their tales, many weave threads of witchcraft so tightly that players cannot tell where imagination ends and sorcery begins. In these worlds, spells are not just decoration, they are tools of survival. Players are taught to gather ingredients, chant incantations, and burn candles to level up their power. Magical staffs replace weapons of steel, enchanted scrolls become guides, and books of spells act as sacred texts. A mission cannot be completed without first invoking a ritual, summoning an elemental, or bowing before a false deity to receive blessings. Some adventures ask the player to pledge themselves to guilds of mages, to swear oaths under moons and stars, or to sacrifice treasures on altars of stone to gain hidden wisdom. Others encourage players to channel energy through crystals, wear amulets of protection, or seek visions from oracles, mirroring practices lifted from real-world occult traditions. The longer one journeys through these quests, the more the lines blur. Imagination gives way to identification. Pretending becomes rehearsing. What was just a story starts shaping beliefs about power, destiny, and the unseen world. The player's soul becomes tied not to courage or truth, but to systems of sorcery disguised as adventure. The danger is subtle. Few notice the shift as they pour hours into lands of fantasy. Yet with every quest completed, a quiet message settles into the heart. Magic is the path to victory. Enchantment is the source of strength, and the supernatural can be controlled if you learn the right spells. The truth is this: such quests are more than games. They are sermons, preaching the gospel of sorcery wrapped in the beauty of fantasy. And those who walk too far down their paths may find themselves bound, not by chains of iron, but by the lies of enchantment. Number 5. The rhythm that calls shadows. Music and dance games that disguise occult chants and invocations. The beat is steady, the lights flash, the player moves in rhythm, following patterns on the screen. Music and dance games promise fun, energy, and celebration, but hidden within their melodies, some carry rhythms that echo ancient chants, the invocations, and rituals long tied to the occult. The player believes they are simply keeping time, pressing buttons, or dancing to match the beat. Yet many of these songs contain lyrics laced with spells, hidden mantras, or praises to false gods. The game teaches the player to repeat these words, to shout them in victory, and to let their body move in sync with rhythms once used in ceremonies that summoned spirits. Some games go further, requiring you to chant along with the chorus to unlock the next level, or to mimic hand gestures drawn directly from ritualistic symbols. Others hide occult invocations beneath catchy tunes, chants of protection, curses, or invocations of darkness, masked by electronic beats and flashing colors. What seems like harmless entertainment becomes participation in rehearsed ritual. Even the structure of these games mirrors ancient ceremonies. The call and response of the music, the repeated chanting, the trance-like movement of the body. In this cycle, players are trained to let their guard down, to surrender thought, and to give themselves fully to the rhythm. And when the rhythm calls shadows, the door is already open. The danger is not only in the words but in the habit. Players learn to celebrate songs they do not understand, to exalt chants they never question, and to believe that movement and melody are harmless no matter their source. But Scripture warns that worship is not just about intent, it is also about truth. And to dance to the music of deception is to offer praise to powers that hide in the dark. The truth is this: music has always been spiritual, carrying messages that shape the heart. These games disguise that power, teaching players to rejoice in shadows while believing they are only playing. But every step, every chant, every rhythm is an offering, and the shadows are eager to receive. Number 6. The puzzle that unlocks the forbidden games designed to mirror esoteric symbols and hidden knowledge. Puzzles sharpen the mind. They challenge logic, memory, and creativity. Yet some puzzles go beyond numbers and shapes, drawing instead from the patterns of the occult. Behind glowing tiles, shifting runes, and intricate mazes, these games echo symbols once carved into temples, scrolls, and secret books. Symbols that carried power not from God, but from forbidden knowledge. The player is told to arrange strange sigils in perfect order, to trace circles and stars until they glow, or to align constellations that unlock hidden wisdom. Some puzzles require stacking stones or aligning crystals so that energy flows through them, awakening doors of light. Others demand players to memorize mantras or repeat chants as keys to progress. Every solved puzzle rewards the player, not with simple points, but with the thrill of unlocking what was once hidden. The mechanic trains the heart to crave mystery, to hunger for the forbidden, and to believe that truth can be reached by symbols and secrets, rather than the word of God. These games imitate the structure of esoteric traditions, mysteries revealed step by step, doors opening to deeper knowledge, the player initiated into higher levels of understanding. What feels like curiosity becomes initiation. What feels like learning becomes deception. And before long, the player is rehearsing the very practices of secret orders and occult rituals. Unaware, they are echoing the whispers of ancient darkness. The danger is not only in the symbols, but in the mindset. When players are taught that hidden truth lies in secret codes, in runes, or in signs written by unseen hands, they grow accustomed to seeking wisdom apart from the Creator. The forbidden begins to feel like treasure, and the mystery of God is replaced by counterfeit mysteries born of shadows. The truth is this: puzzles are not always neutral. Some are designed as doorways, leading minds to patterns and practices that bind the soul. The hand may move tiles on a screen, but the heart is being trained to chase the light of secrets, only to discover in the end that it was darkness all along. Number 7. The play that pretends innocence. Seemingly harmless children's games that carry occult undertones. Children laugh as they gather in circles, chanting rhymes and clapping their hands. To parents, it looks like simple fun, the kind of play that has passed through generations. Yet hidden beneath the giggles, some of these games carry words and patterns with roots in rituals far older than playgrounds. What seems like innocence can mask a darker rehearsal. Some children's games encourage players to repeat chants that are centuries old, phrases once tied to spells, incantations, or pagan traditions. They are sung as songs, whispered as rhymes, or spoken as dares. The words are often dismissed as nonsense, yet they echo ceremonies once used to invoke spirits or ward off curses. Other games revolve around pretending to summon, to conjure, or to speak with the unseen. A group gathers in the dark, calling on an imaginary friend, or testing their courage by asking a spirit to appear. They laugh when nothing happens, but the repetition has already begun. The heart is being trained to play with the very things God warns never to touch. Even toys can join the masquerade. Dolls that come alive, animals that speak, and play sets that involve casting spells or mixing potions are sold as innocent amusements. Children are taught to wave wands, trace stars, and wear charms as though they were nothing more than costumes. Yet these small acts mimic rituals that once belonged to sorcerers. The danger lies in the disguise. Because the games are wrapped in laughter, few suspect their influence. A rhyme repeated in play can become an open door in the spirit. A toy wand waved in pretend can awaken curiosity for the real. And once curiosity takes root, the path toward deception grows easier to walk. The truth is this: innocence is precious, but the enemy delights in twisting it. Games that appear harmless can carry undertones meant to desensitize, to normalize, and to prepare hearts for greater shadows ahead. And unless discernment is kept, play itself can become the first lesson in the language of witchcraft. Conclusion: the world calls them games. Bright lights, thrilling music, stories of heroes, and the laughter of play. Yet, as we have seen, many of these entertainments carry more than amusement. They carry lessons, rituals, and symbols drawn from the very shadows God warns us to avoid. The danger is not always loud or obvious. It creeps in quietly, through repetition and imitation. What begins as pretend can become practice. What is disguised as fun can begin shaping beliefs. And without realizing it, the player's heart grows accustomed to spells, charms, chants, and symbols, until darkness feels familiar, even safe. But God has not left us unprotected. His word is light that exposes deception, truth that breaks chains, and wisdom that guides us away from hidden snares. He warns his children to have nothing to do with sorcery, witchcraft, or divination, not because he withholds joy, but because he guards our souls from destruction. We are called to discern. To ask not only is this fun, but what is this teaching my heart? To recognize that behind the mask of innocence, there may be a hand pulling us toward darkness. And to choose instead the path of life, where true joy is found not in games that imitate shadows, but in the presence of the one who is light. The truth is this: every game teaches something. Some teach strategy, creativity, or teamwork, but others whisper lessons that bind souls to lies. It is our task to watch, to test, and to guard our hearts. For the greatest victory is not found in virtual quests or hidden puzzles. It is found in standing firm, refusing deception, and walking in the truth that sets us free.